Hey, you all. I was sitting here thinking about what's going on. It is 2024. The year just started, kind of. We're in February as Black History Month. And all we're going to do basically this month is wash, rinse, and repeat. We're going to hear about the same black faces, male and female. I'm going to throw some alternates in there as well, if you know what I mean, living in a liberal climate that we have. And I was just thinking about the projections, stuff that we don't really think about. When your parents, grandparents, or someone is getting of age, in many cases, you all don't want to talk about putting them away. One day they're going to die. And we typically wait till maybe something hit them really heavy, like cancer, and that horrible stage where there's nothing that they can do, and then you all are running to the closet or up under the mattress or something they're trying to find. Is there even any insurance? And it's really sad that the end of life have to end in a GoFundMe. So we don't even sit and think about that our life is but a vapor, a mist. That's all it is. We're here today and we're gone today, and we don't even think about how fast the days are going. You do realize at the time of this recording, we're in February 2024. Yesterday, it was just 2019. We've heard of the word pandemic, but we didn't know we were going to get hit with one. Another one is obviously coming. We know one is coming in the scriptures. Hopefully, you all would not be here, but another one is definitely coming because China is getting ready to do some really. They're going all out to find a way to affect the United States in a negative way. They want to control you. They don't want to get rid of you. They don't want to annihilate you. They don't want to destroy you. China needs America because almost most of the things that we have here right now, turn over anything in your house, and I guarantee you that probably 80% of them, it will say made in China or Taiwan or India. You might even see some sweat on whatever you picked up. Okay, they need us, but they need to control us, and they'll find a way. They are finding a way, and they know will it be effective because it's all about not just chemical warfare, but the technology. It's electrical warfare. Everything will be controlled through, once they threw that satellite in the sky, the Sputnik. Russia had put the dog up there, and then we began to chase them and try to be the first ones to do something, and we did. That satellite up there has been both a blessing and a curse, because these phones here are tied in to the GPS global positioning system, and we're able to get anywhere in the world now just by looking at a phone. We can close our eyes almost, and it'll guide us wherever we want to because of the satellite in the air. That satellite there in the universe also helps us to turn on the television, and we can watch any. We can see in the backyard of somebody's house, depending on if there's a camera pointing that way. Satellites have been a blessing to us, but it's also been a curse. And men will use wonderful inventions for the bad. Look at the Nobel Peace Prize. Look at the man who we give a named after something called peace, who was feeling bad for being instrumental in giving us the ability to annihilate each other through explosions, and the man who's responsible for the guns and the rifles and all these things. There's good. Guns protect us. Guns also kill us. Fire cooks our food. Fire burns our homes down. Water nourishes us as we drink it. It quenches us, but it also floods our cities. Do you understand? And the everything that you see that is good, Satan uses it for evil. If I turn the lights off right now, darkness shows up. Not a second later, a minute later, it shows up instantaneously darkness is always present. So we see where an evil spirit from the Lord, the scripture said, entered into Saul. Well, there's no evil in God, but when the presence of God left him, then an evil spirit entered into him, because evil is always present, darkness is always here, and God uses Satan and his imps and his demons to do his bidding. And so the presence, so this evil spirit was an allowance that God allowed these evil things to happen. And we're going to see this happen in the scriptures through Daniel, through Revelation. And we see that God is responsible for many of these catastrophes happen. He says, I create calamity, or Isaiah may say, I create evil, through the King James Bible. To understand that is not to say that the evil of man, God created it. That's not what that evil is. King James use evil. I think it's a mistranslation. It's more of calamity, in the sense that the destruction that is happening, I allow these things to happen. I push things on people, all right, because I am correcting people. When you all are quoting, if my people which are called by my name, whenever y'all quote that, you never continue to read it when he says, if I send pestilence. He said it before. He said, if I created these things, or send these whirlwinds, or send these earthquakes, or send these diseases, if I do this. Now, is he physically doing this, or is he allowing the evil one to do this? Because Satan is the prince of the power of the air. He is the God of the world, and God has allowed him to do certain things to affect weather patterns, all right? He is a little puppy. He is a dog on a leash, and God says, all right, go out there and do what you need to do. How do we know? Because Job was the whooping boy of the day. He was the soup du jour. Where were you, Satan? Oh, I was on down there on the earth trying to seek who I might devour. And God says, have you considered my servant Job? You got a hedge around him. You see what's happening here? And God says, okay, I'm going to remove it. Because Satan was like, listen, I can't touch him. Remove it, and I'm going to prove to you that this man is going to stay true to me. His wife may be crazy, but he's going to stay true to me. But God put a restriction on Satan, told him, you can hurt him, but do not take his life. That is going on today. So although I send these things, so in the book of Revelation, we see that Satan is getting ready to fall again. But this time, it's a different kind of fall. Jesus says, I see Satan fall from heaven like lightning, right? Was he talking about what happened in the beginning, or did he see something in the future? Scholars are fighting over that. Both of them apply. He did see Satan fall from heaven like lightning. He was kicked out. But he also sees Satan fall from heaven, come down, not fall of destruction, but fall down or come down, because he's getting ready to wreak havoc. You understand? So there's a leash on Satan. He only has so much control over your life. You put on the full armor of God, submit yourself to God, and he will flee from you. That's all the dealings you need with the Satan. That's all. And if he comes and try to bite and he barks and he tries to throw darts and try to trick you up and all that stuff, he can't enter into you. All you demon busters out there say that Christians can be demonized. You are a fool. And you have created a culture of deception and manipulation. You need to shut your corporation down, all right, your establishment or whatever this thing is, your operation, shut it down. You need to repent for all of this demon busting circles that y'all have put yourself in, and you have instilled fear into the saints of God, making them believe that this stuff is happening. Jesus said, God, you be in them and they be in you. Now God is in us. He says, I will not dwell in the home, a house made by men's hands. I dwell in you. He lives inside of us. Jesus blew on the disciples and said, receive. And the Holy Spirit came in Acts chapter 2, came and sat among us, dwell among us, in us, and Satan cannot have no reign. It can't be up in there sitting on the left side and the spirit sitting on the right side. So you people out there with this demon busting operation, shut it down. Shut it down. So then Satan comes in the book of Revelation and he wreaks havoc, and God is sitting back and allowing it to happen. He says, unless the days are shortened, nobody would survive. He said, but the days will be shortened, and he's going to come and rescue the whole world. That's the power that Satan has. Right now, he don't have much power. He just bark, 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 bark. He bites you and leave you a little hickey on your neck. That's all he got. But right now, you have more power than the devourer that y'all call the devourer. Well, he can't devour nothing. He can't devour nothing. He's just as weak as these locusts and insects, okay? He can eat up stuff. He can eat up stuff. But you can control that by putting some pesticide down. What's the pesticide? Full armor of God. So I'm looking in 2024, and watch, rinse, and repeat. We've got two men running for the office of the president. The incumbent man wants to do office again. He's 81 years old, and he wants to do another 4 years. We have never seen nothing like this before. And the guy on the other side, on the right, he only a couple years younger than that. All right, and he is up on all these indictments, and you know, he's in and out of courts. He everything that he touches burns and is destroyed. I'm talking about individuals, men and women, who join his party, join his crew, join his flying monkeys, okay? And then they get there, and then they are the ones wind up going to jail and prison and indicted and what have you. It seemed like everybody who joined his team have to stand before the judge. Nobody's paying attention to this stuff. And so now we see that possibly a black man, y'all know who I'm talking about, will be his running mate. He's kissing up to him to the point where he may be the running mate because of his face. Not because of his brilliance, his ability to speak, his wonderful policies, his business acumen, okay, his scholastic motivations. I'm sorry, not because he's such a great husband. He is a scholar and a gentleman. No, Scott is there because he's black, and they know they need that black vote. And so this is a political move on the both of them. Scott is kissing up because he wants to be the VP, and Trump is considering him because he's got a black face. Isn't it amazing how things shift and change? Because when he was running in 2016, blackface, you got to be kidding me. There's no way in heaven or hell that he would have considered it. But now, look at where we are now. It's under consideration. That's in politics. Those in Congress are sitting there collecting checks, giving themselves raises. And meanwhile, the United States, many people here are dying, and they're trying to figure out where we're going to get our next check. They're losing their jobs. They're losing their homes. It's out of control. But they have plush jobs, and and they are investing because they have the ability to do that. These special interest groups coming in there, giving them, filling up their coffers. It's all legal, and then they will retire if they retire, or if they leave office with a nice cushion, and you're still suffering. And you all are sitting there, and you all are binge watching Netflix and all these other little shows right here that's not benefiting you whatsoever. You are getting older, and one day you're going to die. One day you are going to be laying in that same grave, and where you go to visit your mother or your father or grandparents, your children are going to be visiting you there. Are you preparing for that day? Are you? What is your projection for the next 5 years? If you have 5 years, what are you going to be doing in the next 5 years? This is 2024. The economy is going to scare a lot of people. It looks good right now. The projection looks great. But then there on YouTube, you're going to see a lot of scare tactics, scare videos on the economy and all kind of stuff. The crash is coming. You're going to see a lot of that. Well, if you think that is coming, and the crash is always coming, there's always a downturn, how are you preparing for it? What is your projection for just 2024? Short-term goal. What is it? Are you even preparing for a catastrophe? Where do you live in America who's watching me right now? Do you live in California? Are you prepared for the fires? You know, you have a fire season in California. You know, earthquakes happen and not as often like the big ones that we saw almost frequently in the 90s. We don't see them as much, but you need to prepare for it because it's coming. The mudslides is coming. The storms the rain that's going to hit your towns, and you're going to get 30 days worth of storms in one day. That's coming to your town, not just California. All right. How are you preparing for this? Is your insurance up? Are you going to lose your insurance because you feel that they may drop you? So are you shopping? All right. What are you doing? What about you all up and down the East Coast? You know the inclement weather is coming, but many of you want to ride it out because nothing has happened to your town yet. Come on, y'all. Nobody's safe in America. Come on, Midwesterners. You know we get hit with those snowstorms and those not tornadoes. We get what? Yeah, tornadoes. We get these tornadoes. So y'all get hurricanes over there. But we get those tornadoes that have come through our towns and literally flattened our cities. You think because it hadn't happened in your city. You over there in South Dakota, listen, there is a gas that you're walking on, that little threshing floor, that ground that you're walking on. There's a deadly gas that you're walking on right now. And all it takes is for it to come on up and wipe that city. You in Rapid City, you in Sioux Falls, wherever you are in South Dakota, there's no escape because you think you're in a safe place. You in Wyoming. It's only these many people in Wyoming, about these many people, okay? All right, these many people in Wyoming. You think you're safe? Please. You're not safe. You're not. Satan is the prince of the power of the air. God is allowing these things to happen. In Matthew chapter 24 and 25, Jesus is telling you all that these wars and rumors of wars and these tornadoes and earthquakes in diverse places, it's happening right now, yes, but it's going to get much worse. So what's going on with your finances? How often are you going to continue to spend money on things that you don't need? How often does Christmas and birthdays come around and you buy stuff for people who you don't even like? How often are you going to use your credit card to pay something knowing that the credit card is going to charge you 29% interest rate? Man, I wish somebody would pay me a 29% interest rate on something that they borrowed from me and the interest rate is 29%. Okay? How often are you going to allow them to keep raping you across the coal like that? You doing that yourself. You basically saying here, take all of me. Why not take all of me? How often are you going to be buying stuff and putting it on that credit card and then you say, I'm going to just pay the minimum balance off, and it takes you 5 years to pay off a $200 debt? How often are you going to continue to think like a poor person? How long? Say not long. Go ahead, say not long, not long. Huh? How long are you going to keep putting off stuff? How long are you going to have a mentality of poverty mentality? There's a difference between a rich person and a person who is wealthy. Rich people, they operate fiscal year to fiscal year. That's year to year. Poor people live check to check, but a wealthy person operate and live their whole life generation to generation, which is the reason why the scripture says to lay up something for not your children, but your children's children. Generational wealth is what it's called. You understand? So depending on what your last name, if you say Rockefeller, everybody with that name supposed to have some money. If you say Kennedy, everybody with that name supposed to have some money. Rothschild, everybody with that name supposed to have some money. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's all about generation. And it's time. You who are African Americans, this is Black History Month. And I need you to know, you can't keep blaming the man for what you're doing. You can't keep talking about the black and white struggle. I know everything in America has to do with black and white. I do get it. That is always around us. But let me tell you, many people in the Asian community don't care about color because they're like the first century church. They buy and sell things together. They set up businesses in their neighborhoods. They have their own shops, their own diners. They have their own barber shops. They have their own medical industries, and they own restaurants. They own everything. You go through an Asian community, the Asians run that community. And when you go through the Hispanic community, the Hispanics are running that community. Pilsen, on here in Chicago, also Humboldt Park, which is where the Puerto Ricans are. Let me tell you, back of the yard, or there's a few places we have where Hispanics are, and when you drive up and down the community, it's their shops. Their shops. They even got the little cart there, the little taco stands, what have you. They got the trucks out there. It's their shops. Drive up and down Inglewood and look for a shop that we own outside of a barber shop. We don't even own the liquor store that's in our own neighborhood. Drive up and down Roseland, where I live, up and down Michigan Avenue, and look for our shops. You might find one donut shop there and one guy who maybe own a furniture store. That's it. But there's a bank right there called Seaway. We don't even own it no more. We used to own it. We don't own it no more. All right? It's difficult to drive up and down our neighborhoods, and you don't see us. You see us maybe working in the shops, but we don't own the shops. All right? How long are you going to keep complaining, going online or Twitter or Facebook or YouTube and whatever, talking, my people, we need to come together. We need to come together. You know, ever since I was a little boy, my name was Pup, all right? Not literally. Ever since I was a little bitty thing, I keep hearing about the black struggle, and we need to do this and we need to do that. We need to do it. My father stopped talking. Like, my father used to talk about that stuff, but while he was talking, he was doing. That's why he owned all that property on the west side, because he wasn't just talking about what the black man need to do. He was investing into himself, because he was investing into us. And I now own a nice piece of land on the west side. My brother Rodney and Larry and Dwayne and Justin and Janina and Precious and all of us, Michael, we all own a piece of the rock. Why? Because my father didn't just do some talking. He put his money where his mouth was. He invested, and while they were coming in there, when the neighborhood was in shambles, when it was the ghetto, when black folks were trying to move out because it was so dangerous, my father held on to that property. He held on. He was tuck pointing. He was painting. He kept trying to, kept fixing the roof and the leaks and all that. And I used to live in one of them, and a piece of mail would come to my house every month from some white developer. Say, we want to buy your place. We want to buy your townhouse. We want to buy your apartment. We want to buy it. And I didn't own it, so I gave it over to my father, and he'd be like, shh, no. And year after year after year, the price went up. We'll give you $50,000. We'll give you $80,000. We'll give you $100,000. We'll give you $150,000. We'll give you $300,000. We'll give you $400,000. We'll give you $500,000. I mean, the price kept going up. He's like, nope. Now, fast forward 2024, when there's vacant lots and abandoned cars on that neighborhood, and raggedy homes on that neighborhood, and buildings and factories are shut down. Whatever. Now you go on that same block. Guess what? There are homes there and there are condos there that you can't afford to move on Albany Street. Depending on who I'm talking to. You don't qualify. Your credit is not high enough to move on the same block where when I would walk outside, gunshots will go through the trees. Bullets will go through the trees, and we'd have to duck and hide. We have to run to the store because we didn't want to get either shot or robbed, or some gang want to initiate us into that same block. Now is white folks, as well as some of us. And there's rows and rows of condominiums that you can't afford. My father held on to it. And so there it is. And who's living in my father's property now? White folks. Living in his property. His property. Do you understand? He held on. He knew that one day it's coming. As a young man in the, fifth grade, I think it was, fourth or fifth grade. I remember my white teacher. This was 1974, 1775. I might be off a year or two. He was telling me that this neighborhood is going to change. He says, I live in the suburbs and we are tired of driving this far. We used to live here across the street. We moved out because y'all moved in. White flight. He says, but the day is coming. You may be my age when it happens, and we're coming back, and you're not going to recognize this neighborhood. I laughed at him when he said it. This was my white teacher. And then about, 20 years later, the first white family moved in on our block. This was probably 91 or something like that. First white family moved on the block. And what did they do? What did they buy? They bought the house that was abandoned, that had holes in it. They had the backyard was jacked up. It had a fire, and they took that house, spent months putting all their money into it, fixing it up, and they gated it off. And then a few years later, another white family moves in. What did they buy? They bought the dilapidated building, and they did the same thing. I says, they see something coming. The warehouse, the factory that had shut down, all up and down the street because black people moved into factory areas, so we couldn't move nowhere else in that whole redlining thing. And the whites started privately, secretly moving into these warehouses and these old rundown factories and closed factories, and they were recreating them, making them condos. I didn't know that. It was happening right in front of us, but yet we didn't see it. And one day I drove down that strip where the factories were, and I looked in the windows and I saw all these beautiful condos, and who was in there? All white. All white. Why? Because that area was only a 15-minute drive downtown. The projects, they all went down. Cabrini Green was one of the worst projects. All came down. What's over there now? You can't afford to move back over there. You can't afford it. $1 million dwellings over there. Can't. So how long you going to sit by and let your community be affected that way? I'm not even talking about gentrification. Something else would happen, and you're not prepared for. You don't watch the news because you say that the news is too sad. You don't check the reports. You don't know what's going on in your city councils. Nope. You don't even go to your school to see what the kids are doing, what the teachers are teaching, what is the curriculum, the syllabus. Nope. You don't even pick up no paper in your neighborhood. Nope. You're just not informed. You're not. All right? A lot of bad news is going to come down the wire. People who you know and love are going to die this year. Those who you see on your television screen won't be there anymore, many of them. And you're going to be like, oh, wow, gone is an era. It's going to happen. So outside of the political shakeup that we're having, wash, rinse, and repeat, we're repeating 2020. Trump and Biden is back running again. And one is going to make it. And we're going back. We're going back. The more things change, the more they stay the same. So what are you going to do? All right? What are you going to do? Because again, the Asians and many of the Hispanics could care less about politics. They could care less who's running. They could care less about the black and the white or the color scheme and the fights. They could care less about any of that. They are pulling themselves up by their own bootstraps, and they're being like the first century church. They are communicating with each other, and they are not hungry. They aren't. They help each other out. There's families that come from Belize and Jamaica and the Bahamas, and they are members of our churches. My church especially, we got almost half my church is islanders, and they ain't worried about what's going on in politics. They really don't. You know what they're doing? They got a community within our church. And when they're not in church, they're in their homes making sure they're taken care of. They buy, they borrow, and they lend to each other, and they pay each other back and all these things, and they survive. That's what they do. This is why many Africans and islanders hate African Americans, because they look at us as being lazy. And they say, how could you live in a land like this, America, the land of the free, home of the brave, and with the capitalism and one of the wealthiest nations in the world? a superpower, and you black people here are crying about poverty and being poor, and the migrants are coming over here. And guess what happened? Your cities, especially the sanctuary cities, found money, thousands of dollars. They found money, and they are not only employing these people, but they are remodeling places and whole fields and building homes and and because of the migrants, there's a like a Section 8 program that popped up. And now my father told me I got two apartments that I'm working on right now, so that I get some renters in here. And he says, but I don't really have to worry about it. He says because the migrants, the city got a program now that they're going to prorate. They're going to give me money up front, several months up front, so that I could put a migrant in this place. He said, basically, imagine if I had all four of my units available, I can have all this money because the migrants. He said, prior to that, I couldn't get that kind of money up in here with people who lived here who are African Americans. No. And it's like, it's amazing that people who are running from persecution coming over here with nothing in their pockets, and the city or the government say, we're going to give you all these things. That's why the Republicans hate the Dems. They hate Biden. They hate you. They hate you. It's amazing. All this is happening around you and you complaining. I stopped complaining years ago. Pull yourself up by your own bootstrap. Pull out a newspaper. Go to your phone. Find out what the highlights of the day. What's going on in the stock market? What's going on with the weather report? What's going on with the interest rates? What's going on with your insurance policy? Call your mom and your daddy up and say, where's the policy? Did you borrow money from the policy? Because we don't want to be sad twice. Sad that you died, and then sad that there's no money to bury you. Show me the policy. What's going on with it? What are you covered for? All right. Do you owe the policy? What do we do to pay the policy back? Okay. You need to ask these questions right now. Don't wait till cancer hit, or don't wait till God forbid, my grandfather died on his birthday. He was driving down the street and the truck just took him out of the world on his birthday. You don't know when that's going to happen. You understand? So you need to be having things in place. If you don't have things in place right now, why don't you get ready? Please, you got to prepare now, because 2024 is going to be a crazy year. It may not be like 2020, but it's going to be crazy for many of you out there, whether it's financial or whether it's some kind of disease or catastrophe or something, a plane going to hit your house, or or some kind of war is going to happen, where everybody, all nations are nervous right now, and China and Russia and North Korea, they are in cahoots with each other, and at any moment now, look what's happening over there in Iran. Look at what we're doing. We've got to shoot back. All right, the Cold War is back. The Cold War of the 1950s and 60s is back, you all. It's here. It's been here for a while, but it's really here. And you need to prepare yourself in the Word of God so that you can get yourself prepared for the end. The end is here, but a worse is coming. And you want to prepare Generation Z and the generation after that. You want to prepare the millennials, all right? Prepare them for what's to come and stop wasting time. Go to Amazon, grab some books and read books on end time prophecies. Now, I'm not talking about Tim LaHaye and the Left Behind series and all that stuff. That's all. A lot of that stuff is just a lot of fictional stuff. But read some serious books on how to study it. Go to patreon.com, the Sirwalterj Jones Show. You can go to the upper room. It's a room where we study the scriptures and we dig deep into it to find out how can we interpret it, understand it contextually. We break it down in genres, and we break it down in cultures, and we show people really how to examine it. So when you're at church, you will understand what your pastor is saying might be a lie. It might be, and not all pastors lie, but it might be something that you may need, all right? You go there and study with us. We also have a financial room. That's, this is a $5 room. My brother, Larry Jones from Stock Up, is been meeting me over there, and we talk about things that's going on in the market, and we're going to really help you over there as well. We do fun stuff like the piano room and the men's room and stuff like that. We do free stuff over there as well, but you want to be in the upper room because then you get all of that, for like a $12 fee. And you are power every day. I'm on there every day. I got guests coming over there talking about finances. I got guests coming up talking about health. I got guests coming over there. All right, and y'all say, "Well, I can't afford it." Boy, I tell you, the worst people I know are the people who waste so much money on everything that they don't need, giving the excuse that they can't afford it. And soon as you go to church, the pastor or preacher or elder going to tell you about tithing and say, you can't afford not to tithe. And when you do that, you can't even see a return on your investment for a whole generation. And then somebody like me come on the scene and I'm pouring all of this good, healthy content of Bible study and finance and all that stuff, and for $12, and you said you can't afford it, yet you told me you can't afford it while you had a phone, a $1,000 phone in your hand, telling me you can't afford it because you think you needed that $1,000 phone because it's the new one that just dropped. The manipulation that somebody helped you gather is absolutely, truly amazing to me. I pay thousands of dollars every year for somebody to teach me. I'm not talking about Moody Bible Institute. That bill is about $60,000. All right. And the Patreon people is helping me take care of that. Thank God. The Lord is blessing the people on Patreon. This is not manipulation. The Lord says that the man who gives in the word is worthy of double honor. All right. And so he makes this analogy of spiritual with a natural return. He's talking about finances. So these people here who are giving to the upper room or the other rooms and supporting me through college, the Lord is blessing them. I'm not telling you to do this. I'm not trying to manipulate you like y'all do with tithing and offerings, but it's actually going to a cause. I'm the cause, and then I'm giving something in return for it. Let me tell you. So I'm giving thousands of dollars to men and women out there. I'm in part of their online classes that help me teach in almost every aspect of my life. When I do the Sirwalterj show, somebody showed me how to do it. The technical stuff. I'm paying faithfully, and I've been paying thousands of dollars every year for websites, for email marketing, for content creation, for video editing. All these things that I do, I am a member of these sites that I pay. I pay money to Alan Parr. Been paying money. When he drops something, I'm in his class. I bought his book. Okay, Damon John. I just bought his book. It's over here somewhere. Okay, I buy these books. Why? So that I can pour into you on YouTube, Facebook, and on Patreon. I spend thousands of dollars, and I do it every year so that you can give me $12 to empower you. I don't like doing that, meaning talking about that. I don't like doing it. But let me tell you, there's hundreds of people over there right now paying the $12, and you know what? I wish I can show you all of the messages that I get from people saying, I'm 60, I'm 70, I'm 80 years old, and I've never heard this stuff before. It blesses me. So when I enrolled at Moody Bible Institute, the first week, I said the same thing to my professors. I'm almost 60, and I've never seen this before. And I teach Bible to you all. And I said, I learned more this week than I've learned in my entire life. That's what I told my professors, all of them. You see, first century church, we all coming together to help each other. And if you're going to invest in anybody, Black History Month, invest in me as I invest back into you. So was this a shameless plug? Yeah, it was. I actually wasn't planning on talking about this Patreon thing. I really wasn't. But the more I talked, I was like, wait a minute. Why not? Everybody else talk about what they're doing. Some of you all do hair. You're making jewelry and little trinkets, and you weave basking and baskets and stuff like that, and you online and you showing your stuff and you selling, and I'm buying a lot of it. I support African American businesses. When I go out here and I eat at Black restaurants, I love shopping at Black restaurants. I love it. Right now, I pay a Black woman to feed me every day. She's a caterer. Instead of shopping or getting some other persuasive business to what you call it, DoorDash, and all these other little services, Uber Eats, and y'all know we don't own that, right? But we do work for those people. So there's enough people out there to support them, because I supported them, because I used to work for Uber, so I know how important it is to support those white businesses, because we are working for them to survive. So you don't stop supporting the white businesses, because your brothers and sisters are in it. But then there is enough of us out there to be able to receive as well as give. And so there's a woman who does catering, to the food plans. And I says, why don't you prepare me a dish 3 times a day? And let me pay you what I would have paid, what I'm paying these guys. And I don't know what I'm getting. And a lot of food is unhealthy. And I know you. I've known this woman for many, many years. I'm going to let you prepare my food in your kitchen. And it's all healthy. She's a health nut. And she prepares my dinners 3 times a day. And we came up with an affordable plan. Okay? And then she drops it off every Monday for the whole week. She go grocery shopping for me. I pay her for the groceries. And she drops my food off prepared in plates, or whatever you call those things, every Monday. And I fill my freezer up with that food all week. And so when I'm done doing my show, before I go to the show, I go in the freezer, pull out a dish, pop it in the microwave, and it's all healthy food made by a woman who loves what she does, and she wants to make sure that I'm healthy. No strings attached. She's a happily married woman. Happily married. Okay? She loves God. And here we are. I'm to a place now because I work so hard. I'm writing books, you all. I got 4 books on Amazon right now. One is a co-written. All right? And it's a lot of work, because I got 5 more books to write. That are part of that series and outside of that series, and I got to get on par to do this. And plus my shows, and plus my Patreon that I drop every day, and my music, and I have to keep working to survive. Do you understand? So I don't have time to go upstairs and try to make a meal and ordering from Uber Eats or somewhere. That's costly. And it's not healthy. So I'm finally doing something right here. I wake up, eat her breakfast, go work out, come back, she makes smoothies for me. I go in the refrigerator, drink the smoothie, put nourishment back in me, and then I eat lunch. And then I work, and then at nighttime, I go eat the dinner. That's the routine. It has been a blessing for me, and I was able to maintain my weight. But this time, now it's healthy weight. It's not a Popeye's chicken and all this fried stuff. And I mean, I got fruits in here and grains, and she makes salads and A veggie. I bought a veggie machine. All this stuff is in my system right now. So when it goes out into the drought, I see all that healthy stuff hitting the toilet. I'm sorry, y'all. Were y'all eating? I'm sorry. TMI. My bad. My bad. It's wonderful to see now. Not a piece. Let me stop here because missionary Bobo was watching. She was like, I was enjoying Brother Jones, and here he go. He vulgar. He just like Cat Williams. He's nasty. He'll talk for 45 minutes and then he start talking about his bowels. All right. I'm sitting here paying bills, you all. Baby girl is anemic, and so the heat stays on around the clock. She gets cold, and so my light bill came, and it's high. I mean, it's several hundreds of dollars, right? So the gas, that is, and my lights is a few $100s, and it's expensive to operate what I do. To do what I do, it's expensive. But my baby girl will always be taken care of. She's got a man, and she got her children. Even though she and the children live here, my daughter don't ask me for any money because she is self-sufficient. She works. She discovered that she know how to do hair. She just woke up one day, so I'm gonna do hair, and she started doing it. And then clients start banging on the door. So she goes down to her boyfriend's shop. He has a barber shop, and he's self-sufficient too. He works hard at the barber shop, and he supports my daughter and my children, and she supports herself. And so she don't ask me for money. So why can't I give her the thermostat to turn on and just be comfortable here? She cleans the house. She washes the dishes. The house is spotless because of my daughter. It's a wonderful trade-off until he decides to get on one knee and propose. It's a wonderful trade-off. And so it gets expensive here. Now her truck is down. It's been down for about a week. They've got to come up with some money, So I may have to help them out because the struggle is real. Operating a business, he's only been operating a business for, I don't know, it's been 2 years now. And you all know who run businesses, especially a brick and mortar, you don't see no return. You can't reap the benefits on a business like that before 5 years. So, the money's in the expenses and insurance and all kind of stuff. Now you got babies. So I've got to help them get their automobile back up and going. And so that's extra expense. But guess what? I'm supposed to do that. And you all are helping me do that. When y'all give to the CashApp, when you support Patreon, well, Patreon goes to the school, and you send me money through P.O. Box and through PayPal, it's supporting a black family that's not sitting back. My daughter ain't sitting down having babies so she can collect public aid checks and food stamps. No, she gets up every morning and hustle. One of the strongest moms I've ever seen outside of my mother is my daughter, Rebecca Olivia Jones. And I'm saying this not because she's my daughter, although I am, but she is an amazing mother. My grandchildren eat vegetables and fruits. They don't eat McDonald's and Burger King and all that. Nope. They eat healthy foods here. She made sure of that. Breastfed them both until she couldn't get it out anymore. And my son, Walter Jr., is the same way. Sierra, the mama, is the same way. He proposed to her while I was in Atlanta, Georgia. He told me the news as I was getting ready to leave town. He saved it till when I was getting ready to leave. And I reached up and I hugged my son. My son is tall. I reached up and I hugged my son. My father was standing there. So it was a moment that all these three men were sharing. And I reached up and I hugged him. And I held him and he held me tight. I can feel his grip on me. And as I was getting ready to pull away, he held me. And that's when I felt that connection. It was always there. We both needed that hug. And I thanked him for doing the right thing. Proposing to that girl. And so they want to have a destination wedding in Jamaica. So I got to get ready for all that. And I told him I want a daughter-in-law. So I don't force people to come together in marriage. No, I don't believe in forcing people because they have children. I do not believe in any of that. But my daughter is like, well, I guess it's my turn. I'm like, yeah, come on. I always wanted a son-in-law too. I always wanted one of them. She said, well, let's see what happens. So if I get me a son-in-law and a daughter-in-law, I can do this. I can retire, physically retire, but I can't because I gotta see my grandbabies walk across, not high school, college. Walk across. Don't push me in a wheelchair. I want to walk in. All right. I just wanted to chat it up with you all. I went 50 minutes, and this is pre-recorded, so I wouldn't have to stop and look at the comments and the thingy. Thank y'all for coming over here to the Sirwalterj Jones Show. You have been a blessing to us. It helps us to be able to support Haiti. We've given thousands of dollars to Haiti. We've given thousands of dollars to those who are struggling and trying to, what do y'all call it, survivors through cancer. Some of them who we did support have lost their lives. I don't tell y'all everything. But the money that you did give sustained their lives, meaning they were able to get back and forth to their appointments and have food in the house, and then till they met their demise. So you all have been supporting people there, single mothers who the fathers are not in their lives, they're not supporting them, and so the mothers got 1 and 2 jobs, and the children are, surviving off of that. And you all constantly send money, and you put it in there. You say, this is for the mothers, this is for the cancer, this is for Haiti. Y'all put that there, and I make sure I put that money where it goes. The bunker community is a community that does give, and that's why you all are blessed. This is why you continue to give to your church. But let me tell you, if you're giving to your church and you don't see your church doing what the Sirwalterj Jones Show doing financially, I often wonder how long you're going to keep giving to your church because you need to pay a building mortgage off and you can't afford to give to the poor and the needy. Now that's funny to me. Not ha-ha funny either. Go to patreon.com, the Sirwalterj Jones Show, and you're supporting a tall, skinny, big-nosed man through college. And so my kids can see me walk across the stage, and then I'll say over the mic, give me the mic. I want to thank the bunkers. All over the world, hundreds of them came to Patreon, and they supported me through college these 5 long years. I'm hoping it's going to be 4 because I'm going to summer school. I want to thank each one of them, and I want to sit there and count out all of the bunkers' names one by one. It's going to be the longest graduation in American history because I'm going to call out I'm going to have a long sheet. And I want to thank Sister Bobo, and I want to Dodge Henderson. And I want to thank Darlene Abernathy, and they're gonna be there for a while. All right, y'all. Sometimes it's so hard to say goodbye to right now. Take care of yourselves and one another. All right. See you on the Sirwalterj Jones Show. Meanwhile, see you at Patreon in the upper room, the piano room, or the finance room, or the men's room, or just in the outer court, which is the free room where we'll be doing questions and answers and movie night. I love y'all. Take care of yourselves and one another. Now you know.
The 4 Women That Men Desire by Sirwalterj Jones is a women's guide to men. The authors endeavor to expose men fundamentally with his perspective on the types of women that men truly desire. He has meticulously penned a brilliant and controversial read, bold in its assertion that all women fall into one of 4 categories. Girl A, the side chick. Girl B, the mistress, Girl C, his soulmate, or Girl D, his fatal attraction. And when a woman walks into a room, her category is showing. The 4 Women That Men Desire is funny, informative, and enlightening. It is a quick read and a must-have for your library. Head over to Amazon.com for your copy.
It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?